Welcome back, Red Spotters, and the show here on the Red Spotlight Entertainment Podcast. In another installment of our beloved Beyond the Shield series, I'm your host, Alexis Soto, joined by my fellow agent. This is David Francisco. How are you doing today?
Good.
Another week here of our recap series with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D, the final season. This is episode 6 of season 7, Adapt or Die, on Red Spotlight, number 246. A lot of numbers to memorize there. Numbers had never been my thing, so that's what it is. Generally every week we come here, we talk about S.H.I.E.L.D's episodes of the week, and we go off broad, whether or not we liked it or not, general observations, takeaways, and then we get it right into it with the characters. We have to go character by character, as the show is an ensemble, and it usually just breaks up the cast into pairings, as they have been for the last few weeks, and we'll be going off in that direction. So if there's a place to start, there's a really, really big thing. I think the big takeaway, in particular character, in this episode, I think I have so much to say right now. I don't know what I want to start off with. That's how many conflicting thoughts are in my mind. I guess if I'm going to start off with an initial reaction to the episode, as in the moments after it concluded, the feeling that it left me was, I didn't expect that at all, and I can't possibly expect what's coming next.
Yeah, same. Especially, have you seen like the preview for the next episode?
I've seen it.
It looks insane. Oh my god. But I think the episode's gonna be called like the misadventures of what is
I think it's called the Adventures of Mac and the D or something like that. I mean, that should say it all. I think we're heading into crazy town this week, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, and it looks like they're gonna be hitting like a bunch of 80s tropes, like you see like this weird looking robot or something. I don't know what it was. It's it's we really have no idea what's gonna happen next.
I mean, look, again, this is just my mind working, and there's so many things I want to say at the same time. But I'll start off with this. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has, in my view, been one of the best shows on television in terms of a week-to-week experience, which is why basically for the entire run of this show, ever since September of 2013, I've been watching the series week to week. I think you and I both have.
Yeah.
But I can't come up with any other show that gives you a rewarding experience every week. You know what you're getting with a show like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, as far as the flavor is concerned, but they always do such an amazing job of sprinkling in these surprising, oh my god, twist and turn moments that you'd think at this point, 7 seasons in, we would expect or see coming a mile away. But I have to say that I think that the show in its entire history has pulled off some amazing surprises. But the twist that we got, and there is a big twist in this episode, I have to say I'm angry that I didn't see it coming. Because that shit got me. Like, no. You're not doing this. You're not doing... I mean, I guess, like, in retrospect, I should have detected something off, but I didn't. I didn't.
I think I know which part you're talking about. And you're right. Like, it should have been pretty obvious, but I think the show did a good job of, like, taking you away from it, basically. You know? Like they did a good job in past episodes setting up like how we should see some certain signs, but then they completely threw that away, which is cool. and then just the characters themselves, you really just didn't see it coming, or at least like the what's it called, like the dynamic within the characters. It was really great, and you couldn't you really couldn't see it coming.
There's nothing more telling about what the mood or tone of an episode is going to be like, especially these last few weeks, from the opening title credits or sequences or whatever they've been like. The one that we had this week was very, very, I don't want to say standard because it's not, but it was probably the most basic it's been the entire season. And I wonder if that was done because of that big moment, that big character moment in particular that it was building toward in the final act of this episode. I wonder if maybe the decision was made to not have an overly fun title card this week, to not undercut the moments that were had. And there were a lot of moments in this episode that were moments of drama and sacrifice and I should.
It was just.
Go ahead, Dave.
It was just a lot of character moments with this episode, and they were all pretty serious. So, yeah, I definitely get why they didn't go crazy with it or didn't put like a certain theme to it.
Right, because and there's a lot going on. There's a kind of in every direction you can see. There's some big development going on with trauma, and then also development with the characters in themselves. There is sacrifice, there is death, there is abandonment literally at the end. Like as an episode, I don't know, like this may go down in history as one of like the busiest episodes, and also the number of surprises that they gave us, because it wasn't just that. I mean, I think the peak of it was that thing that we talked at the top of it. But then if we thought that was the end of it, no, the end credit scene was kind of more, it doubled down on that even more so. And it was, wow. That's why I said at the end of the experience, I was like, a lot of good stuff in here. Again, I don't know what's coming next. And I love that. I love that so much, how they're keeping this so fresh and exciting week to week. I still can't figure out how this is going to get wrapped up. I really don't. Yeah. And I love that feeling when I can't figure out where the show is going. And before I let you go off on your thoughts on it, this show, I mean, this season, every episode, I think this is like, I have to think back. Maybe this was back in season 4, but I can't remember a time when every episode was just building on top of each other. It keeps going and going and going. I can't believe it's been, almost, if not already, a month since the Alien episode, the Commies from the Future episode. And like, look at how much ground we've covered since then. And it's been 3 episodes since then?
It's hard to keep track.
It's like they're moving at a wonderful pace here. I'm enjoying every minute of it. But as a season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I mean, just at how every episode continues to top itself in some instances, not saying that this was better than the others, although some may feel that way, but you get the sense that it's building and building and building to this crescendo that will be the finale, of which we have no idea how that's going to look like. So yeah, overall, again, pretty positive, overwhelmingly positive, high marks. Wonderful surprises that got me. It's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know what you expected. David, your thoughts?
No, I mean, you said it. Like, it's a pretty standard episode compared to like all the past ones, but still very, very important. to the show, to the characters and all that. We got some, like I said, we got some great character moments, especially with the Coulson.
Macklemore?
I was gonna say Coulson and May.
Coulson and May, of course. Whoa. I mean, yeah, we got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for
I think
sure.
it was I think it was especially a big step for May.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, and you're right with Mac too. Great big moment. But I think it was a good setup for what's gonna happen next. And I don't know, I think but yeah, overall still a good episode. We got some pretty cool answers, some pretty cool moments. Yeah.
There's a lot, and we're going to go ahead and start off with going into the details of the episode. It is, to me, what is surprising about this is that, so we left off on the cliffhanger of last week's episode, which, in both of our views, the Chronocoms played them really, really well. And I guess we can start off with the Chronocoms first, because there's some interesting stuff with them and Sybil, who's getting more screen time, the predictor of the Chronocoms. We start off the episode with them, and their prerogative in this episode is to overwhelm them and eliminate them in one swift stroke. Actually, kind of brilliant, really, when you think about in totality what they had lying in wait, because the episode happens, and as we get to, I want to say, a little over halfway done, S.H.I.E.L.D. does what they do best. They bounce back. And they kind of topple. There's a lot of, the Chronocom ship is destroyed in a massive explosion. I think it was the actor Tobias who played the main Chronocoms for the last few episodes has been taken out. And also, what's his name? Nathaniel Malik, whose fate, I think he's dead, but maybe he's still going to be used later on. I don't know.
I think, actually, I was thinking about this. One interesting thing they can do is bring back Hive.
Okay.
Because Malik was the head of Hydra, but now that he's dead, I mean, yeah, they can just bring him back easily and just keep making him the head. But since Hive is like their leader, basically, or the thing that they were worshipping, they could just bring him back and be like, "Hey, help us out."
Ooh, I don't know where that would go, but
yeah,
that's a lot of stuff right there. So one by one, it all kind of resolves itself. Not to make it sound so easy, but you know, they bounce back, they push him back, and it seems as if you know, the day's been won. I mean, let's just, before we get into the twist, I mean, it was such a good plan, and we should clarify a couple of things from last week's episode. So I guess the envelope that Malik handed Yo-Yo was really just Mac's parents.
Yeah.
They didn't say shit. Yo-Yo didn't say anything. So, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I guess that's what it was.
Yeah, it's kind of,
I would have preferred it if it would have been something else, but I mean,
I know,
whatever.
We hyped it up, and but also the episode itself kind of like hyped it up, because I don't know. I think it was just kind of like a little badly edited scene, you know. Yeah,
a lot of people. You see, yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean. So we quickly moved on from that point. It's interesting because while the Chronocoms failed, more or less, by the time we get to the end of the episode, I'm left in a position where you see, I don't know who really won or lost in this episode, considering all the things that have happened, you know, because I mean, Well, we'll just go ahead and jump into it. Go. You wanted to say?
Well, you're mentioning who won or lost. I think it can just be what the Chronicom set up. It was a setback, but on both sides. And I think this is going to be the true test of both sides is who can bounce back. You know? So, yeah, you can go on.
Well, I mean, like, the Chronicoms were pretty much defeated on all fronts. So it was looking like an amazing victory for S.H.I.E.L.D., as they normally do. But I think they pulled off something that most of the villains in this show have never done. They had a sneaky, underhanded, despicable sleeve. I mean, card up their sleeve. And it was played in a moment where we're led to believe everything's been dealt with, you know? And so the big twist in this episode is that Mac's parents are Chronicoms. See, this is... I love it for so many reasons. First of all, as a surprise. In terms of last week's episode, there was nothing to suggest that the Chronicoms replaced them. Because at that point, we didn't see any simulated personality Chronicoms. Of course, in this week, we use the memory machine that they had from last season to transfer memories to Chronicoms and to simulate their personality traits, all the while ripping the skin off their faces, which, you know, you do you, right? But even with all of the hints like that, in this episode, I didn't catch on.
Yeah. Same.
I really didn't. And, you know, look, from Mac and Yo-Yo, some wonderful fun interactions with Mac and his parents that reminded me a lot of, again, talking about endgame parallels, when we see Tony with his father in the 1970s, I think toward the end of the second act of Endgame. And we see some of the similarity, the similar awkwardnesses that are had. Can't help himself and hugs his mom immediately and like, whoa, back up here, man. Like, wait. and then he tells him, this is my girlfriend, Yo-Yo. And then she's like, I don't think these strangers care, Mac. Okay, you gotta keep it together here.
I love it. She's so cool. She's trying to like, she understands like what he's going through, but they're just kind of like, you need to calm down.
Yeah, it's a good thing Yo-Yo was there.
Yes.
To kind of keep that from almost entirely disintegrating. But look, in terms of that dynamic, it's just one of those things that you have at your disposal when you can do time travel. And yeah, it's been done several times. But again, what works about those kind of cliches is the actors, if they sell it and if the emotion is there. And what they did a wonderful job, and to which it was so painful at the end, is that those fuckers made us like them.
Yes.
They made us like them, and because they were having wonderful back and forth between not just Mac and also with Yo-Yo, but there was a lot of stuff that was really in a short amount of time packed into Mac's parents that, you know, just stuff that we've known from the entire history of Mac. The fact that, you know, they're both cars, they're mechanics, and how Mac's dad immediately recognized what Mac was suggesting is that they could bypass a security door the same way they would work on a car or something. Or also when he said that he couldn't fix one particular problem, but I can fix something else. Or when you can work on something else. And they both immediately knew what that was. So it's moments like that that make the dynamic in the relationship work. And again, Mac is just a really sweet guy. You're so immediately on his side and sympathetic and, you know, wishing the best for him. And, you know, like it was a gut punch last week, realizing that they took his fucking parents.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and they doubled down on it this week for sure. But yeah, And so when the reveal happened, I don't know what to say.
No,
I don't know what to say.
no, I mean, like I said before, they did like amazing setup beforehand to really trick you, because like in the beginning of the episode, like I said, it was pretty easy to think like, oh, they're probably Chronicons or something, blah blah blah. But they were emotional, so it's kind of like you kind of go, oh, okay, maybe that's not it. But then the episode sets up that, oh, they're learning now, they can understand these people's personalities. But the thing though is that the other people that we've met, they're soldiers, so they're kind of already not that emotional. They're just like, hey, we gotta do this, blah blah blah. But with, like you said, the dynamic between Mac and his parents, it was so fucking great. Like, I still love that moment. I think that the moment that convinced me that it was them was when they were trying to get that gate open, and the mom goes, "Are you Huggies doing great?" And then Yo goes, "I call him Turtle Man," and they just go back and forth a bit, and it was so great. So, and when that twist happened with the dad whole touching May, and you're just like, no.
Your heart sinks.
Yes.
Or someone else described it like, my skin went white or something. Just thinking about no. And those bastards, they made us like them.
Yeah.
And they made us like them because it felt real.
And what they did so well though too is that when the dad touched May and we realized like, oh shoot, he's a Chronicom, they did a great job in also setting up like, okay, is the mom a Chronicom too? Or is it just the dad? Like, they just want one or they want both? And then once the reveal happened, they both start fighting and you're like, God damn it.
It's there's a lot of things going on in that moment. First of all, you're pissed at yourself for not seeing it coming. And then you're even more pissed because this is actually infuriating. From a personal level, it's like, hasn't Mac been through enough?
Yes.
No, he really hasn't. It seems like, but there were clues throughout the episode. Not just the fact that the Chronicoms had, started to simulate personalities, but evidently, and this is from the Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast that I listened to, that one of the commentators had said this when he was rewatching the episode, is when Mac's dad gets his arm caught in the door, not much attention paid to that in the sense that there's no immediate attention called to the wound. There's no blood stains on the shirt from the wound. And I
noticed that the second viewing.
And also Mac's mom, there's a cutaway where she helps cover up the wound.
I just now noticed that. Wow. That's a clear sign that she was probably a Chronicon. God damn it.
Right. So it's like, they got us good. And they were telling us from the very minute. And it's also just so sinister. Like, we've seen the Chronicoms like be straight up maniacal. Well, not maniacal, maybe just evil. Indifference in their evil, let's just say. But this was sinister. This was like, whoa. And I mean, I think the highlight of the episode in terms of the dramatic moment, maybe one of the most dramatic moments of the whole series, and it feels heaviest that it comes at the end of the show, at the end of the series, because this particular character, Mac, has been through a lot of loss. And this is the character who has maybe the most love, the most compassion out of any of them. And here he is. The music is swelling up, and he has to, at the same time, while his robot mom first calls him Mac, you know how those LMDs try and trick you at the end, but then calls him Elfie, which, if you remember all the way back in season 3, the Watch Dogs episode where Mac reunites with his younger brother, Alfie was what he was known as, and his brother is the one who was called Mac when they were kids.
Oh.
And so that's why she says Alfie to Mac. And then after, she says that all crying or whatever, he has to fucking press his hand against her face and push her ass out of the Quinjet. And then he, just so completely beyond devastated, falls to his knees, the music, reaching its crescendo, and just, we're all broken is what that moment is.
Oh God, I'm almost crying just talking about it. Oh my God.
And as it was directed, it was beautiful.
Yeah. And it is, and it's even like sadder though too, because I mean, you could think like, oh, just throw her off, it's not your mom and all that. You can think that, but it kind of is his mom, because his mom is really dead.
That's all that was left of her?
That was all that was left of her. Like, either way, she's a chronicom, whatever. Like, that's her memories. She could gain emotions just like Coulson. Like Coulson and May's conversation. It's like, no, you're just like them. It's like, no. I have emotions. It's like, are you sure? I mean, you're literally them. You just somehow have emotions. So it's really sad, because who knows? Maybe if like they didn't tell them off, they could have changed. Who knows?
I mean, yes, perhaps there was always that possibility. I didn't mean to glide past some horrific things in the confrontation between the parents and Mac on the Quinjet, because when he says to Mac, they've been gone a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And then when he even doubles down on that and he says to him, I harvested their skins. That is just, wow. Not only, I mean, but yeah, you're right. It wasn't just an underhanded like thing. They're dead. His parents are gone. And again, to the question of how they fix everything, I don't know. You may even argue from Mac's point of view. What can be fixed at this point? This is awful.
Honestly, like, I hope this isn't how it ends, but I honestly think that they're just going to have to like fix everything again, or like not fix everything again, like do everything again, like stop Hive, stop Hydra, stop the what's that book thing, the Darkhold, or
yeah, like, Darkhold.
Yeah, they have to do that again. But I mean, the difference now is that they know exactly what to do. Like I think that's gonna be like the solution for them.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought of that before. But I mean, speaking to the Chronicoms, I gotta hand it to them though. I mean, that was actually a pretty amazing card up their sleeve, because yeah, a lot of things really didn't go their way this week. But I mean, they had the backup of, I mean, because look, the objective of Project Insight was to get the S.H.I.E.L.D. Zephyr into the open. And so they used the missiles from the lighthouse to shoot it down. And I guess you could say Sybil, because she can see basically everything, understood that wasn't going to work and that wasn't going to be enough. So they had the Chronicoms impersonating as Mac's parents as insurance that they would go back to the Zephyr and then blow it up and take them out entirely, which I think was the real objective the entire time. Although it seems as Sybil was a little bit taken off guard by Coulson being so unlike a Chronicom, and blowing up the Chronicom ship. And I have to get to this question right now because, and we'll get to the other characters, I promise. It's just, it's been lingering in my mind. Okay, so the Chronicom ship has been destroyed. Okay, I have to. No, never mind. I have to save it for the end because it also involves talking about another storyline. So we have to get to that first. So let's. Do you want to? Who do you want to talk about next?
Who's gonna? I think we should talk about Daisy and Souza. I feel like their thing is short.
Right.
So they were captured, and one of Malik's kid, he was the one in charge, and I love how when he walked, the moment he walked in, because she was like, "We got what'd she say exactly? Like, oh, we've been kidnapped by some crazy person and all that." It's just like crazy. Well, that's a bit rude. It's like, and wow, what coincidence! You say that as literally when I walk in, like, what the heck? It's just a funny.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Look, Nathaniel Malik is batshit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But in the best way for a villain on TV. I think Nathaniel Malik may be the best crazy we've gotten. I mean, not like crazy like he's unhinged. He's just very calmly psychotic. I guess that's the best way of putting it. But the way that he revels in his, I don't know, craziness reminds me of the days of Cal Johnson, Daisy's father, back in season 2.
Mm.
And then also, there's just something in the way that he talks. It's like the actor really hams it up there to give it a little bit more like personality, a little bit more quirk to him, where like he's just so enthusiastic about the evilness that he's about to inflict. To like where he gives Souza a smirk. Well, if the needles didn't work, we'll do knives next time.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of. It reminded me of that guy from El Camino, the one that was keeping oh my god, what's his name?
Oh, Jesse Plemons, the actor that was keeping the maid's body.
Yeah. Him. It kind of reminded me of that, but like you said, he had like a bit more quirkiness to him. So that's kind of what I was thinking of.
Yeah, complete sociopath.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a echo of a almost verbatim similar line. So there was this moment where Nathaniel goes up to Daisy, and he basically says, "I wonder what makes you so special." Kind of like, and he's kneeling down. I think he almost like somewhat touches her. I think that's what, or maybe he just says that to her while he's closing up on her. That's the very first thing. One of the first things that Daniel Whitehall said to Daisy in their first confrontation toward the mid-season finale of season 2, when they're in Puerto Rico, right above the Inhuman City. Ward, Cal, Daisy, and Raina are there. Whitehall recognizes that Daisy is Jiaying's daughter. And then he kneels down, touches her, and says, "I wonder what makes you, or I hope you're as, I don't know, I hope you're as special as she was," or something like that. So,
damn.
Just a little bit more of an echoing of that moment. When I was watching it the second time, I was like, wait, that's almost exactly like the other moment. And then again, in the theme of like the ghosts of the past coming back to haunt you, I mean, we talk a lot about Mac and it was the most fucked up, but how many times has Daisy been put in this situation? Like she's literally like this science experiment that gets opened up every few years. Remember when Hive was using her to create the new Inhuman genome with Radcliffe in season 3, or when back in season 5, against her will, she was implanted by Cassius, and then Fitz, in his own form of psychosis, removed it for her in the most horrifying way. So I think she may be on record the most character that gets cut into on this show. But what's more harrowing about it is, of course, she was the first person to realize we can change things, and we probably should because things are not going to go our way at some point. And then, of course, the very thing that happened to her mom, and when I think Daniel asks after she's been cut into, if this has happened before, and then she keeps saying Jiaying, Jiaying, Jiaying. Now it's happening to her. So, which is, just horrifying.
Yeah, it's fucked up, really. And no, I mean, like you said, she's been through a lot. I mean, everyone has, but for her, it is more physical trauma, I guess you can say.
Yes.
Than everyone else. And it's really sad that she's kind of has to go through what her mom went through in a way. In
a really fucked up way. It kind of brings her closer to her mom.
Yeah, and I wonder if they kind of like have a moment with her to be like that she kind of has to like rise up from it. Mm-hmm. She would like she doesn't want to be like her mom or anything, or like her dad, really.
Right.
And I mean, Sousa could almost be like the dad.
Well, that's the thing. So, we should, of course, Sousa again gets more moments to show what an amazing spy he is. Mm-hmm. By basically knocking out the guard and like walking away with Daisy after Malik destroys himself.
Daisy too. She had a great moment. She had a fucking piece of glass stuck in her hand, inside her hand. Like, oh my god.
That, yeah.
Yeah. And that line, I'm getting a bit ahead, but when Coulson finds out Daisy is in danger and he figures out that she's gonna get out of it, he's like, "That's my girl," and it means also it means so much more. Oh my god,
it really does. We should focus on. I really wonder what they're doing with pairing up Daisy and Sousa. And seemingly how that's going to continue, because they had a great moment together with Sousa recalling the story of when he was injured in the war and how his leg was kind of useless and how a friend of his was talking to him, keeping him awake. An emotional moment, powerful moment for that character, for that actor. I mean, they really don't have to give Sousa as much as they're giving him every week, but man, are they really giving him a lot to do, just in the mechanics of the story, but then also that work for his character. I wonder what's happening. What's going to happen? Like, do you think that there's a road that's been opened, or maybe I should say a door that's been opened up with Sousa and with Daisy? Because if you've noticed online, the shippers are at it again.
I knew it.
They're at it again.
I hope not, because I'm honestly theorizing that he's gonna die.
It seems possible.
I can definitely see a moment where he's like, "I'm a man out of time. I'm not used to all this whole thing and all that," or something. I don't know. And he could sacrifice himself. I don't know. This show, we don't know what's going to happen. They can do that, but they can also just have a moment in the end of the season where he's embracing the future, where he's just staying in 2020, and it could be with Daisy. And I don't know. Oh, God. I don't know. I can definitely see them being together, and being kind of protective of her now, especially because of what she went through. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm not necessarily opposed to it,
Same.
I'm interested to see where it's going. I like their dynamic. I think it's to see those two actors and just those two characters interact is not what I would have pegged it be, what I would have expected it to be. But I'm liking it, and I'm interested to see where it's going to go in the future. Whenever it is the hell we see them next, which that could be up in the air, because in the next few weeks we're not only gonna deal with Mac and the D, but we also got to deal with Fitz's comeback return, which is imminent from what I understand. So that's a lot to juggle as we're getting into the final episodes of the series. I wonder if maybe they're going to leave it off where the potential of a romance is lingering at the end, and maybe Sousa does survive and comes back to the future with them. Who knows? I'm not necessarily opposed to it because, I mean, Daisy kind of needs something happy in her life, right? So, you know, you gotta look out for her at some point. And Sousa being alive is okay in my book. I like him. I'd rather him be alive. So, I mean, it's interesting. No. It's interesting. No, so, do you think how it left with Malik basically being unconscious? I mean, the quake powers backfired spectacularly as his bones were cracking. I mean, hell, I could have told him that.
Yeah, I actually forgot I actually forgot that her powers were making her bones break. I forgot about that. So that when you see him right there and he's like, my bones are cracking, it's like, oh yeah, you're so screwed.
You really are. So, I mean, to me, I took it as like, well, you're dead. Mm-hmm. We're not going to see you again. Do you think we're going to see him again?
I think so. I mean, again, they need another person on the inside of Hydra. And it could be him, or it could be his brother too.
Gideon, maybe.
But if he's alive, I feel like they would put him in the forefront because he's an Inhuman now, I guess, or he has powers now. So, yeah, again, we never know what's gonna happen in the show. Oh my god. So,
yeah, there's a lot of lingering questions there. Also, with what the Chronicoms do next, I don't even know. Well, I don't even know anything. Let's just be real about that. So, there's that. So, shall we talk about Coulson and May?
Yes.
I think I saw a clip of Elizabeth Henstridge, the actress that plays Gemma Simmons, on this show, her YouTube live stream during the airing of the episode last week. I think she brought on the writer. I don't recall if it was the writer, or I'm pretty sure it was the writer of the episode. And one of her things, there was a clip of her saying, "It's been 6 episodes. I think it's long overdue that May and Coulson had that interaction." Mm-hmm. So she was like, I need this, and for them to have this be a big moment in the episode. And that exchange was testy, to say the least. Mm-hmm. I think maybe it might rank among... They haven't had a fight like that since, I think, season 5. Well, he hasn't been around since season 5. But the point is well made. It's been long overdue for those two. And last week they did a good job of like getting those two back in each other's orbit, being on the same mission, shall we say. But I think it was one of my favorite moments of this season, not just from a story standpoint, from an emotional standpoint. It really, really worked for me. Tell me about what that did for you.
No, yeah, it was like that writer said, it was long overdue. They finally had like a big talk with each other, and I think we were almost right as to the situation. She's emotionless because of what happened last season, but you can tell she was distant from Coulson just because of everything that's happened now. And I like that she brought up that she is kind of just done mourning for him, I guess, and kind of doesn't want to feel anything. I mean, she has no choice, but I think it's still her choice that she doesn't really want to feel anything for him.
Yeah, you kind of like, you're right bringing that up, because that's kind of what we had suspected toward the beginning. Mm-hmm. Yes, there was the reveal that she is kind of an empath now, and that she, as a result, can feel no emotions. But when Coulson asks, well, you can still think, what are you thinking? She had her emotions. If she had that, she would choose to feel nothing. Mm-hmm. So the result is kind of the same. She would choose to feel nothing because she wants to feel nothing. She's tired of having to mourn. And you know what? When she said it like that, it was like, well, that just makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a running joke how many times they kill off Coulson, not just in the show, but like in the movies and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's kind of taking that running joke and like making it into a serious moment. Also kind of funny the way she says it. It's like, you never die. I mean, you literally never die. And I can't keep... Every single time you die, it destroys me. I can't keep doing it. I'm not going to waste that energy, especially in how she says it, on a decoy with a simulated personality with so much anger. Maybe she's beginning to feel some emotions again after all. Maybe a little bit there. And maybe, as Coulson says, maybe she's learning it from Coulson.
Yeah.
No, I thought we needed to hear that as an audience, and I think it was important for May to say that. And you know what? The way that it was said in the dialogue, it made all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
It made all the sense in the world. And that's what we had thought initially, why she was so cold to Coulson. It's like, you know what? You're not Coulson. I'm not doing this again.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. It makes perfect sense. And I liked how that conversation was a bit of a setup for what happened Coulson later on. Which was... Yeah. It's funny, but at the same time, it's kind of like, oh God, what's going to happen? Again, what's going to happen? So Coulson finds the ship and he has a talk with, what's her name?
Sybil,
yes. And it's a big speech moment again for him in the show. I honestly thought it was a great speech for him. And again, the way they edited it around it was really cool. What'd you think of it?
Of Coulson? So, yeah, Coulson's so interesting in this episode, right? Because he is, and this is, it gets back to this classic sci-fi trope, and we've had this before in the show back in season 4 with LMDs, but this is maybe the most interesting case where it's like, this is Coulson's personality because it is Coulson's own brain. His memories are in him, and he is the closest copy of Coulson you can get. But he knows he's a robot, but it doesn't identify it like that. And that's really interesting to me. The fact that he gets kind of really butthurt several times this episode from May and from Sybil when they kind of say, well, you're not a person. He gets really offended by that. Like, it really gets to him. And I think that speaks to, with what they're doing with him in this season and where that's going to go. And maybe that kind of is in a way what causes him to make the sacrifice play, because to what Sybil says, you're overly emotional, you're afraid of dying, and you will kill each other and destroy each other because of that fear. And it's almost as if like the constant barrage of comments that he gets dismissing him as a robot or just another copy or nothing or not Coulson, he feels like Coulson. He identifies as Phil Coulson. Even though that maybe these emotions may be simulations, they're not simulations to him. He may feel
it's all
like
real.
He has those emotions. It's all real to him. And the fact that he is so hurt that May has basically shunned him speaks to, well, that it dusts off that old debate, right? Of like, well, these robots are programmed with emotions and simulations, but at what point, and this is a conversation they had back in season 4 when Mac, Fitz, and Simmons were hijacking the Radcliffe LMD, and Radcliffe was talking to Mac about, well, how do you know that I don't have a soul? I have thoughts, I have emotions, or what I think are emotions. So it's like, I wonder, it's so nice to dust off that conversation and Coulson just kind of like shoving his fist in everyone's direction, like, you know what, fuck off. I know what I am. And even though I'm a robot, I'm just part of me that's still human. And let me here, Sybil, show you why it is that we're going to win and you're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And then he talks about sacrifice. And then we see the montage of all the different groups that are overcoming the Chronicons. And I guess you could say perhaps this speaks to him. Well, that's not, one could assume when he says, I haven't been afraid of dying in a long time. One who doesn't know Coulson would assume, well, that speaks to then why you're a robot and not a human. But no, Coulson has not been afraid of death since the first time he died. And that's kind of, again, playing with the joke of how many times he's died. Like at this point, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just another day in the office for him.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll die. And that wonderful moment of him saying, well, dying is kind of my superpower. And that sure wipes away Sybil's smile pretty quick.
Yeah.
But even still, he's not that sure of it. And when he says on the walkie-talkie to May, it's like, yeah, May, I hope you're right about this next part about me coming back.
I know.
And then, of course, go ahead.
That's why it's pretty funny, because like, what if he doesn't come back? It's like, yeah, he'll be back. It's fine. It's like the last episode. He's not back. What's going on? It's just like, oh, okay. Oh my god. No, but I mean, clearly he's gonna come back. I mean, it's the final season. I'm just wondering how. Are they gonna like the Chronicons gonna find his body and bring him back, or is it gonna be S.H.I.E.L.D. or it could be Mac and Deke. They could go back to I think they're in the lighthouse from what we saw in the preview.
We should talk about real quick the brilliance of that moment of the explosion and Coulson saying that is that it's two things at the same time. It's an amazing moment for Coulson, an emotional moment for his character, and also completely hilarious at the same time. So that's why I think that really works in my view hand in hand. So what I saw in the preview for the coming episode is that he is going to be, I don't know if it's a memory of him, or maybe I'm thinking maybe he at the last minute found a way to insert his consciousness into the mainframe of the lighthouse, because there are sequences, brief, however they are, of Coulson appearing on a screen in the lighthouse in the 80s, where Deke and Mac are. Maybe I think that's what happened. I don't know how else he would have survived or how he comes back, but he's got to come back. It's Clark Gregg, it's Coulson, and even May. And this is the thing about May. It's like, and why maybe she's beginning a little bit to get back her emotions.
Yes.
So at the end, because when she tells Yo-Yo and Mac that Coulson sacrificed himself, there's like this long silence. And then she's like, he'll be back. He always comes back. She got emotional there. She seemed pretty moved at that. So it's like, I'm wondering if as the weeks go by, maybe her arc, it's kind of maybe poetic about what they're doing with May, is that in this season, they give her kind of a liability. Maybe, I don't know if liability is the right way you would put it, but her inability to feel anything maybe it's also kind of a play on the running thing with her character, where for the longest time, she does not at all wear her emotions on her face. And by many of the people in this show, she is considered to be the least emotional person. Kind of cold in many cases. So the fact that in the last season, she's given this arc of where she is feeling all of the emotions all at once by all these different people. Maybe her arc this season is she has to overcome that to finally come to terms and be at peace with her own emotions and not be ashamed of them and not push them away. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're doing with her. But I'm curious to see where it goes. But it was a moving thing to see her just be a little bit sad. You see it in her eyes that Coulson died, even though she kind of said all that shit to him. Yeah,
she looked sad, but her voice sounded hopeful in a way.
Yeah.
It was a really cool scene.
So yeah, I don't know, but I guess we'll know. We'll know when we know. But yeah, again, May on fire on this episode, of course. We shouldn't forget her with her empath abilities. I mean, basically being the LMD or the Chronicom detector. She was the first one to like pick up on the simulated personalities. And of course it worked in so many ways. Of course with a big twist. Like when Mac's dad touched her, you see her face just drop, and I think as he's walking away there's kind of a shiver. I don't know what happens. A little bit of a twitch that she gets. Slight, subtle, not massive. It's that noticeable, but very, very well done, I think. Shall we talk about, I guess, Gemma now? Gemma, Deke, and Enoch is next. Okay. So we got some answers this week.
Yes.
We got some answers on, as I think you were expecting, as to what the situation is going on with Simmons. I think maybe, and I'm not sure if this is an error on the part of the episode, but there may be this, I don't know. It doesn't say it as, because at the end she entrusts Deke with her secret. So you have to think that, because it's almost as if when it's revealed, it's like, oh, okay, well, that's a thing. So I guess that's what the reveal was. And that's, but no, it's going to come back into play. It has to come back into play because of who specifically it's connected to, and that's Fitz. So it's going to come back, and now that Deke knows that secret as well. So the reveal is, and yeah, I buy it because the fact that the idea that she could be an LMD didn't necessarily track, considering how many times that she would have been incapacitated through an EMP or some other. I'm even thinking perhaps while it wasn't completely deactivated, the EMP they used back in episode 3 may have slightly affected the biological implant in her head, because it was going on the fritz basically at that point when she was forgetting certain things, like at a rapid pace. That's why she forgot Bobo, or why she forgot how certain things work, and that sense. How did the reveal work for you?
It was pretty cool. We guessed it last episode that it was obviously going to be some the thing is obviously affecting her memory in some way. But again, they it's a cool reveal, but they also made it kind of funny. Where she was like, what was the name of it? Diana or something like the
Diana. Yeah.
And she was like, her name is Diana and she's very lovely. But she's acting up for some reason. It was a funny reveal. And I liked Deke's involvement of it. I think it's gonna bring them a bit closer together in a way. Him and Simmons in it. And I also like that bit towards the end when they were finally fixing it up, and Deke was like, "Enoch, I'm sorry, you didn't deserve that, and you're an important person to the team." And I was like, finally, someone said it.
Well, I think it was even more than that. So let's talk about Deke this week. Some wonderful moments with him. Him showing up and like, I killed Malik, and then Mac's like, "What the fuck did you just say?" And then I'll deal with you later. And I guess they'll have their own episode. It seems like this week, but wonderful interactions on the Zephyr between the three of them. When the missile hit a part of the Zephyr, and when Enoch was saying, "If we don't fix anything, we will be crushed like Xandarian snails," and then Deke was like, "Why are you so calm about that? Why are you so calm when you're saying that?" Just beautiful, beautiful line of dialogue with Jeff Ward accentuating there. Enoch so calmly saying, "Oh yeah, we'll be killed if we don't fix this shit." Going off now, but in Deke's defense, that was kind of a freak show he walked in on, and they probably should have told him before they stuck something in the back of Gemma's neck.
Yeah, but at the same time though, like I don't know, it didn't. I feel like he did overstepped a bit, just because it's Enoch.
It's Enoch, yeah. Yeah.
It's not like she was hurt or anything. Was she? No, yeah, she was unconscious. Never mind. But
no, she was unconscious and she was tied up. She was tied up too.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That kind of changes things. I didn't notice that at all. What the heck?
He was unconscious. There was something stuck in the back of her neck, and she was tied up.
The tied up is the thing that changes my mind now. Dang it! Because if she was just like, I guess why she would be unconscious. But if it was just kind of like a little fixed thingy, I feel like Deke might have overstepped it. But now, seeing as she was tied up, I can understand now that he probably was afraid. Okay, my bad.
And of course, I mean, they've been growing closer and closer. Deke and Simmons. It's interesting because like it also just reminds you that it reasserts Enoch's place in all of this. It's like, yes, he's the line that Deke said to Enoch was, "You're an important member of this family." Family is in like not just the team of S.H.I.E.L.D., the family that is S.H.I.E.L.D., but then also the Fitzsimmons family. It's kind of a weird family. So you have Fitz and Simmons, and you also have the grandson Deke. And I don't know what Enoch is. And I think it'd be offensive to call him the dog, but
yeah,
he's somewhere of that sort. And they are this family basically, because Enoch has been a big part of them. I mean, Enoch spent so much time with Fitz, obviously, lost in space. But now, on the flip side, he's spending so much time and growing closer with Gemma. So it's like, yeah, you're part of the S.H.I.E.L.D. family, but you're more importantly, I think what he meant to convey is that you're part of our family, the Fitzsimmons family. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it like that, but that's actually pretty cool. And I liked his response to it. It's like, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
It's sad too.
Yes. But it's so funny though, like the way he said it. It's like, that is the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. And I can't do his voice. I can't do voices, but it was hilarious. Oh my god.
A wonderful, wonderful moment. And I guess we should also speak to the reveal in that we kind of get a clue of where Fitz is. Not when Fitz is, but she reveals that she and Fitz found a place where they can watch the Chronicoms, every move they make. So what that tells me, or at least what I suspect, is Fitz is the one who is monitoring. I don't know why I can't say that word anymore. Monitoring. I lost the ability to say that word. He's watching what the Chronicoms are doing and when they're jumping into the time stream. So I'm of the mind where Fitz is the one that is flipping the switch for the Zephyr to jump into the next timeline, to follow the Chronicoms directly into it. That's what I think. Or?
I can see that, but the thing that's weird is why does he have to do it? Or, I mean, I think I guess they explained it, but like, why does he have to do it like right when they leave? Like, I know they said like there's an open window, there's like a short window of opportunity, but it's just still bad timing though.
That is true. That is true. So maybe so that's a theory I have, because the current logic that is thrown at us is that automatically the Zephyr just jumps because the Chronicoms jump. So yeah, that would be something to but consider.
From what I got, I don't know why my mind went to this, but when she said that, I kind of was thinking that Fitz is like, when Coulson puts his hand on like this machine and he meets Sybil in like some virtual place. Right. My mind went to that he's in that place too. Like,
really?
Yeah. And that's why, you see it timed like, oh, you guys got 2 hours before they jump again. And it's like, okay, how does he know that? How does he know when they're going to jump?
He has to be ridiculously close to them, right? To know, not just see everything they're doing, but to also know when they're going to jump. And the fact that Gemma was like so paranoid, look, if they know he's there, they will kill him. Dare I say, he's got to be with them, maybe.
Yeah.
Like a spot on the ship, or maybe, as you say, maybe in the digital mainframe of their consciousness interlinking, he could be there too.
Mm-hmm. And he could be linked to like the time stream, I guess. Like, you know, that thing that Sybil's holding on her hands.
Right.
It could be just that too. Like maybe they found a way to kind of see what they're seeing instead of like seeing what they're doing. And he could also find moments in time to kind of either just, I mean, he could either just be just making them jump through time, but he could also be doing something on the side. I hope so. I mean, it would kind of, I think it would kind of suck if like he was just kind of like, here, you go jump again.
I have to imagine when we get Ian DeCastiger back, they're gonna make an event out of that episode, and they're gonna be a lot of things that have happened. I would hope anyway. But yeah, at least we get a reminder that Fitz is out there and also working the problem on his end with the Chronicoms. But then also that also speaks to some. We have all of these things, the characters and their journeys laid down, except for that one moment which we'll get to. Well, I guess right now, but. So, here's the thing. The Chronicom ship was destroyed. And the logic that was given to us is that they're following that specific ship as it jumps through time. So why did the Zephyr jump not once, but twice? What's it following now? Is it just a replacement Chronicom ship that's out there, and it's as simple as tracking them and going through the time? Because it jumped twice, and in the second time, unexpectedly, radically quick, like probably minutes after Mac went to get some air on his bike, it jumped again. So I wonder, like, what's going on there? Is it perhaps the Chronicoms fucking with them even more, or what's going on? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, the ship could have just the one that they destroyed. It could have just been where they keep bringing back more and more
the hunters.
Chronicoms. Yeah, the hunters. So that could have been just what they destroyed. So the thing that they're following now, it could just be a different ship that they're trying to like work the mission now. So I think that could be it. I actually didn't think about it that that the ship that destroyed could have been the one they were following. Honestly,
right. Because I also can't really see what the Chronicoms are going to do now. Well, I guess they figured it out almost immediately. Seems like that's what's the case anyway. But yeah, the team is also just kind of not. I don't want to say crippled, but I mean, they're down a couple of people. Not just with like Coulson sacrificing himself, but then also Mac, the director, and then Deke being left behind in 1982. I don't know what.
I mean,
what happens next? I don't know.
I mean, I don't think we're gonna have like an episode with them like being without Mac. I think we're gonna see like what's been happening to them while they were gone, and then the episode's probably gonna end with them catching up with Mac and Deke. So.
Yeah. Well, it seems we've got a big episode coming this week with, oh my God, Mac and the D. It looks off the wall bonkers. Like I said, crazy town. And I'm for it. I mean, you can't have the wonderful episodes they've been doing this year and not do the 80s. You just have to.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. Also, we should mention the brilliant timing of the airing of this episode. 4th of July.
Oh yeah, and it was Bicentennial Day. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, just always found it interesting when shows do something like that, especially since like S.H.I.E.L.D. never really knows when they're airing. Per se, although I think by that point they knew that summer was their last their last stop. Before we go, I just wanted to speak real quick about Ian DeCastiger's absence. I thought it was common knowledge that this wasn't designed by the writers and the showrunners, Jed Whedon and Marissa Tangerowan, that it was just something that they had to work into the story because Ian DeCastiger was working on other projects, and particularly filming other projects maybe at the time of this. And although some people out there have been, putting that in question, so I can't believe that they would choose in the last season of this show to just until like episode 8 or 9 to introduce Fitz just because.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that there was situations and circumstances surrounding his scheduling that made the decision to find a story reason for his absence necessary rather than because they chose to. Yes?
So people are like arguing that, or like they're getting mad that he hasn't been in the season yet?
I have seen a lot of comments from Twitter. I guess we're going to call it S.H.I.E.L.D. Twitter. I don't know. That have, and also a lot of reaction channels who are not aware of criticizing the team, the writing team, for choosing to drag out Fitz's return. Where, from my view, I don't think they had much choice in the matter, considering that actor was busy.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
Which happens,
Mm-hmm.
And it happened before with season 5, where he was gone the first few episodes because he was filming something else.
Yeah, no, I'm on your side with this. Like, he's obviously pretty busy, and they had to work around it. But I also understand the people who didn't know about that info, or just kind of like, because it is kind of weird to just not have him there, and especially like so many episodes have gone by without him.
And the last season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the last season too. But I definitely trust the writers that when he comes back, he's gonna come back like just smashing into the to the team and giving us all this information that will probably change the whole dynamic of the season, of the last few episodes. So I get some of the fans
frustrations. And that. Of course, we miss him too. I want Fitz in this as well.
He's one of my favorite characters.
Right.
I want him back too. But yeah, at the same time, like, I'm sure just some info they can get some it. Dude's busy. The dude's busy, and the writers are. I do think they're doing a good job working their way around it.
All that matters is a happy ending for Fitz and Simmons. That's all I think we're all going to care about, right? So as long as we get that, we don't really care. That's kind of what most people want anyway, in that regard. But yeah, I think that's that about does it for this episode and the discussion this week. Anything else you wanted to mention?
One thing, in the beginning of the episode, when they were like, Mac, Yo-Yo, Deke, Simmons were huddled up. Simmons mentions that Daisy is missing and everything, and Mac says, "Oh, great! I lost my best fighter." And did you notice that it cut to Yo-Yo, and she was like, "Oh, gee, thanks." Like, kind of pissed off about that. I noticed that in the second rewatch, and I was kind of like,
I heard some people mention that as well. I don't know why I didn't catch that either time, but it does cut to her. Yeah.
I mean, it's sad, and it's kind of sad. You understand why she felt that way, but at the same time, though, it's like
Mac is under the most pressure he's ever been in that moment, so it's understandable. But looking back on it, you probably could have chose those words more carefully, to be more sensitive to the issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also are going to get. We still need to get answers on that. At least we forget Yo-Yo and her powers. So
yes.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that's still remaining as far as a mystery this season, and I'm wondering what that's going to be. But you're right to mention that out. Well, I think that about does it for this episode. Catch us back next week under the spotlight here for more weekly recaps of Beyond the Shield. We have also weekly recaps of Avatar: The Last Airbender, ramping up to our finale on that, of course, and more episodes here. That and Fantasy Fair review of Hamilton. That'll be something, I'm sure. So, with that being said, thank you, David, for being here. Wonderful to talk Shield with you yet again. Can't wait. I really can't wait for next week's episode. So, thank you all for listening. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.